guys, Turbocharged 51 over here. I hope you're having a splendid day wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to Turbo Fox Races and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. Again, this is just like the previous video. This is the third time I'm doing the commentary for this video, but in any case, we're happy. It's all nice, it's all good, it's all done day. Guys, if you guys want more information on how a lot of the racing works that you're currently going to see in Gran Turismo, please go check out the previous video. It is literally the video posted before this. And yeah, let's get straight into the action. So guys, this is about 3 weeks ago. My previous commentary, it was 2 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, this was the weekly event in Gran Turismo. Unlike the previous one that you guys saw, this weekly event was swapped around, where the GT4 cars was like in a quick little sprint race format, and the GT3 cars, which is an epic race by the way, coming at the end of the video, was like a little bit longer, more endurance style race. In any case, we are heading into this race, and you guys can see I am driving the Mercedes-Benz SLS AMG GT4 car. I am followed by a GT4 Lamborghini Huracan, and then an Alfa Romeo 155 2.5 V6 Ti from 1993. Now, besides the fact that this Merc with its 6.2 litre naturally aspirated V8 sounds glorious, excuse the color though. For any of you guys that actually know me, you guys know, especially if you have been here since my Need for Speed days, I hate a yellow car. And honestly, I just haven't had the time to like put proper liveries on my GT4 cars like I have my GT3 cars. I know you guys haven't seen them yet, but you'll see them pretty soon. Yeah, this was a bit of an interesting one. So excuse the horrific canary yellow color, and let's move on. So guys, this race was just a 4-lap little sprint around one of the fictional track locations in Gran Turismo called Dragon Trail. Now there's two different layouts, and both layouts can be driven clockwise and anti-clockwise. And this specific one is the less fun of the two. The other Dragon Trail one is by far my favorite, and it's also one of my favorite games on the track, and it's probably the most loved track in all of Gran Turismo history. That Dragon Trail has come through many games, and it is just loved all around. But you guys can see here we are going to start the final lap of this little 4-lap sprint, and you guys can see behind me the Lamborghini is within a second. And if you guys watched the previous video, you guys will know, for some other reason, I hit panic stations when it comes to the final lap of a race, and I make stupid mistakes. And obviously, I'm working very hard on that, because that is not something that I want to happen. I feel that is a very bad characteristic to have as a sim racer, and even more as a real racing driver. So we head down this little back straight. Now, don't get me wrong, this Dragon Trail layout is still very fun. It's just not nearly as fun as the bigger version. This is like more of like I almost want to say it gives indoor vibes, this version, but like I said, it's still pretty darn fun. And you make the best with what you have. Make lemon with the lemonade. Wait. Oh my word, my English. Make lemonade with the lemons you are given, and in this case, it's literally lemon, proper yellow, lemon yellow. And as you guys can see, in typical turbocharged 51 fashion, I bottle on the last lap. The only difference is this time, I do not have a big gap where I can save myself, and I'm now under pressure from the Lamborghini. He's got the inside for the quadruple right-hander, and he is away. I can take slipstream a little bit here up the hill, but it's not a long enough straight for me to actually pass him. So the only way I'm losing this race is if he actually makes a mistake. He goes back to the racing line, and it's a very, very, very hard and tight double left-hander, which actually is just, it turns into a full hairpin. And you guys can see I'm just way too eager on the throttle. The rear end steps out, and the Lamborghini wins. Now for this next race, you guys are also going to see my best qualifying time of this whole event that I was able to set, and I think I'm going to show you guys that after this specific race. But here we go for a second race. We are now followed by an Audi TT Cup car, which in this game is the GT4 car, and then another 155 Alpha. So here we go, the race starts, we get underway. Just one thing that I don't like about this Mercedes, so the GT4 cars, they perform their best with lower gear ratios, and what I mean by that is that the gears aren't so stupidly long, because these cars don't have a lot of power, they don't do insane top speeds. you're looking at about 250, 260 with low downforce on a really long straight 280. So you don't need a first gear that almost takes you to 100 kilometers an hour. But in any case, it's Gran Turismo, don't ask questions, just nod your head and say yes. And as we bounce up and down on the curbs, we get a half-second penalty for corner cutting there, which was not ideal and which was a very silly mistake to make. But we divide and we conquer. We are still in the lead by 6/10. The Audi TT, and oh my word, look at the Alpha in the mirror. He goes for an insane dive on the Audi, goes onto the massive curb on the outside. They're side by side heading into this next section, which I'm not going to complain because going side by side into any corner means you lose time to the cars around you. So I can take the normal racing line, hopefully not bottle this corner again, rather bottle on the first lap than the last lap, I guess. But we get through, and now we've got a 1.5 second gap, but we're going to serve a half-second penalty pretty soon, which is going to cost us about 2 to 2.5 seconds going up the hill. But you guys can see I go very wide through the quadruple right-hander. I'm just way too eager with my throttle input. So we go down this way, we serve our little penalty. I accidentally down gear, which I shouldn't have. It was such a short penalty that the down gear was not necessary. But braking into the corner, we are still in the lead. We've got 6/10, but I outbrake myself very badly there. The Alpha luckily does the same, and I can just scoot my way back onto the racing line, and he actually just goes wide in desperation to try and get ahead of me, and it turns out he loses a position to the Audi. So even though there were a few mistakes and a little bit of unnecessity, we are still in the lead at the end of lap 1 with a 1.2 second gap to the TT Cup car in P2. So now it's all about just trying to extend the gap and staying in the lead. But extending the gap was easier said than done, because as you guys can see, we're on lap 3 now, and the Audi is still right up my behind. The German in the Alpha was still very much struggling, and then me and the Audi make a bit of contact as he goes for a much tighter line at the hairpin, and he takes the lead away from me. So we now head into this little S section. You guys can see I'm trying to just get him unsettled so he makes a mistake. Little bit of the inside here, I have a look. There's a little love tap between the two of us, nothing too major. It doesn't even send him wide. It just enables me to get past. The contact wasn't on purpose, but it did help. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The little bit of contact did help, even though I tried to avoid the contact. But here we go, you guys can see this time I've got a much better run through the quadruple right-hander. And up the hill, the Audi is sniffing my SLS AMG's gearbox oil. And as we hit the uphill and almost to the braking zone, we hit the brakes. The Audi's on the outside. We are on the inside. He goes way too deep. We keep the tight line, do the proper curb clipping, and we are still in the lead. But he's now got a better exit coming out of the last corner, and he's going to have slipstream down the straight. He moves to the inside, even though I moved first. He decided I'm going to jolt to the inside, which I decide go back to the racing line, go into the corner as quickly as possible, use a wider line so that I can carry more speed. He gets in front of me, but now I do the good old switcheroo. We are up the inside of the Audi. We need to clatter this curb, kadonk. And there we go, big curb clatter. The Audi is still on our inside. We are now on the inside for the next part of the chicane. We bounce the sausage curb again, which these GT4 cars can take very easily. Little bit of contact again between myself and the Audi, but he should have left me more room. And then we down the straight, we are once again in the lead. But now the German in the Alfa Romeo has caught up to us. We hit the brakes nice and hard. We don't want to give the Audi the same little bit of false up that we did the previous lap. The Alpha again just sends it up the inside as if he's Kamikaze King and takes P2 away. Both cars are ghosted as they are now battling away for P2. And this is all I needed for me to get once again to that almost 1 second gap. As you guys can see, it's going to go to 1.3 seconds now as the Alpha and the Audi are battling. I didn't bottle at the corner where I bottled the last time, and we can now just hunker down and focus and bring this SLS home. Through this next part, a beautiful run through the quadruple right-hander, up the hill, and this actually is really currently a very good lap. But unfortunately, knowing that we battled with the Audi, I highly doubt it's going to be fastest lap of the race. So through the final 2 left-handers, and it is all the way to the dub with a 1.9, maybe 2 second gap because those guys once again made contact. The Alpha goes wide, and it's myself from the Audi, from the Alpha, and then it's a Ferrari 458. Actually, oh no, yeah, it's only from P3. So it's Alpha 458, 2 GR Supras, a Lancer Evo, a Megane RS Trophy, a McLaren 650S, and another Megane RS Trophy rounds out your top 10. So that is all nice and dandy. And Now we head on. I think I'm actually going to show you guys a third race here around Dragon Trail. This is Dragon Trail, the Gardens Trail. There we go. There's the name I've been looking for. And yes, it is my fastest lap attempt. You guys can currently see my record is a 1 minute 40.6. I take it down to 1 minute 40.2, but I knew there was still pace in the car, and I knew there were corners that I could optimize a lot better than I did. So here we go. You guys can just quickly jump on board that first left-hander, which in higher class cars can actually eventually be taken flat out. Unfortunately, not in GT4 or even GT3 cars. I think only GT2 and GT2 and Grade 1 cars can do that. Through the chicane, I'm about 8 tenths down. You guys can see just above my gears in the bottom of your screen, there's a little tiny number that shows you currently how far behind or ahead I am of my time. I'm about 7 tenths behind my fastest, 700 over my fastest lap, but going through the hairpin we take it down to only about 6/100ths of a second. But the thing is, the time where I lost the most time was in the final half of the lap. So you guys could see a very aggressive but beautiful line through that right-hander into this left-hander, power down as early as possible, and we are currently just over a tenth up on our fastest lap. Through now into the quadruple right-hander. You basically have to hit the first curb, miss the second and the third one, and then you have to kind of just nip it on the fourth one. I had a little bit too much speed through there, but also you go up onto a straight. So if you miss clipping the final curve, you have more straight line speed. It depends what do you want to make your corner shorter, or do you want a little bit more top end speed? It's not the longest straight, but they kind of balance each other out. Into the final two corners, I broke early to clip the curbs perfectly, and that gives us a full almost 8 tenths, but it drops down as we obviously have a slower exit coming out of the corner for not running wide. And over the line, it's a 4/10 improvement to a 1 minute 39.838. And here's the final race I'm going to show you guys. I am second on the grid, following another SLS AMG, and then there's a Porsche Cayman in P3, McLaren 650S in P4, and the exact same Lamborghini Huracan that I lost the first race to because of my silly mistake is in P5. So this might get very interesting very quickly, especially knowing the fact that it's a very quick race. I mean, a GT4 car is a 1 minute 40 lap. So it's not a long race. So in front of us in his black SLS is an Italian, and then there's a Spaniard, a British gentleman, and a French gentleman behind us. So here we go into this next corner. You guys can see it's just me and this SLS I'm trying to see what his lines are, how aggressive he is on throttle, and the car seems to be waddling around a lot, just like mine actually then went through that last corner, but his car is definitely wobbling a lot more than mine. But the fact that he was quicker in qualifying means that he is the driver to beat around here. Unlike real life, these cars don't have funky engine mode. Unlike other motorsports, these cars don't have funky engine modes and stuff like that. So we actually, you guys heard the contact there between myself and the other SLS. I went for the inside dive, and he just turned in on me. Like, he solidly turned in, and then he has the audacity to flash his lights at me. But he should have left room. Obviously the move was coming. I was slipping him all the way down the straight, and I mean, he left the inside wide open. It's not my fault. He just decided, okay, I'm going to yeet to the inside and just pray that you're not there when my entire car is there. But it's all good. It's all good. We can't complain. We are in the lead. 1.2 second gap, and the SLS goes very, very wide through that next part of the track, and him and the Porsche make massive contact as the Porsche is spun round and the Mercedes keeps going. But now he has lost an immense amount of time, and now he has to play catch up with basically only 3 laps left to go. So I think the Porsche honestly just left the lobby after this. I think he was just like, seriously, serious, why did you do that? Why on earth did you do that? And nobody knows. But we are still in the lead, and as you guys see on lap 4, nothing really happened. I do not know what happened to the SLS, but he's fallen down to P5. The Huracan is P3, and there's currently a guy in a McGann Orange Trophy in second, but 3.2 seconds behind me. So after the whole little turning in on me by the other SLS, I led the way, no struggles, no hassles. Through the final corner we go, and it's going to be an easy rubber dub. W all the way. Mercedes is the GOAT on this track. No, they're not really, but this car just felt incredible around this track. So I will take the rubber dub. Renault 2nd, Lambo 3rd, Ferrari 4th, Mercedes 5th, McLaren 6th and 7th, Ford 8th, Toyota 9th, and a Ferrari in 10th. So you guys can see there actually that the Porsche did decide to just leave the lobby after his incident with the other SLS, which I found was kind of funny, and I'm not supposed to think it's funny, but I did think the rage quit was a little bit funny. But also, I also rage quit sometimes when people drive like absolute idiots, so you know, it is what it is. So guys, here's the race that I teased at the end of the video. So this is a 12-lap race around, I think it's Trial Mountain, if I'm not mistaken, is the track. And it's GT3 cars. I'm in the Subaru BRZ against a ton of Porsche 911s and a Mercedes AMG GTs. The Porsches and the Mercedes were the quickest cars on this track by far. So any of you guys who know Gran Turismo would know, this BRZ is absolute hot trash in a straight line. But it is very much the strongest GT3 car in the corners. And as you guys can see here, there's only 2 big straights. The rest is a very technical, very corner-happy middle part of the lap. And if I could optimize that to the best of my capabilities, this race could have been mine just as much as the Porsches. They had the straight line speed on me, they did handle very well in the corners, but they couldn't hold a candle to this BRZ. So you guys can see it's a 12-lap race. There's pit stops in this race. We are using the racing soft tires, softs, intermediates, and wets. But I don't think in this race wets and intermediates will be seen because it didn't rain. And obviously we have to manage our fuel as well. But as you guys can see, the fuel is not going to be an issue. It's 12 laps and there's massive contact between myself and the Mercedes. He just doesn't leave me room and gives me a half-second penalty for no good reason. After he just decided, I'm going to squeeze this guy to the wall and hope that he just disintegrates through the wall, which didn't happen. There's a massive kerfuffle there at the next corner, which just allows me and the orange Porsche in the lead, driven by a Frenchman, to break away from the rest of the pack. So you guys can see I am an absolute sitting duck on the straights. The Porsche just absolutely leaves me in the dust, and actually the Ford coming from behind is also a pretty darn fast car in a straight line. So as long as I could optimize the corners as best as I could still win this race, because I literally took out a second per lap just in the technical section. So if the Porsche extends a second on the straights, I was right back on his rear bumper by the time we exit back onto the straights. So there was honestly, this was just about who could drive the most consistent and clean race. In any case, so what was I busy saying before? The massive amount of contact with the Mercedes. I can't even remember. Honestly, I cannot remember. But guys, I'm not going to show you the full 12 laps, because then you guys are going to sit here for literally like half an hour. And I know the full video is half an hour, but I'm talking about from this point where this race started for another half an hour. And I wasn't going to do that to you guys. Now, first thing that I have to say, this GT300 BRZ, which in this game is obviously a GT3 classified car, it does have its oversteer tendencies, but it's really not the worst thing in the world. And this car, guys, back on Gran Turismo 6, the previous generation BRZ GT300 car was on the game. And guys, I absolutely adored that car. If you just did a small little turbo upgrade on the car, like I think it was a medium boost turbo, the car would jump about 100 horsepower, but it would still have its incredible handling capabilities. And it was still, it wasn't a monster in a straight line, but it was enough to completely dust GT1 cars. Not in the straights, but in an overall track. It could stick with the GT1 cars, not grade 1, GT1, like olden days GT3 when they were a little bit faster, like proper GT1 cars. It would absolutely dust them in the corners, and on the straights I could match them, and it was such a satisfying car to drive. It was one of my favorite cars in the entire game. And on Gran Turismo 6 there were over 1,000 cars in the game, so you guys can imagine, to say that one car was my favorite is a big stretch. Like, it wasn't my ultimate favorite, but it was definitely one of my favorite cars without a shadow of a doubt. There were a few touring cars that I would have put above it, and but besides that, awesome car. And with this little the 2021 GT300 car, it's not giving me the exact same experience, to be honest, but it has kept the characteristics of its previous model. The only thing is, with these online events, I can't like add the medium turbo, because all the cars have to be put into, like, they have to be assigned to a certain performance point so that all the cars are as matched as possible. Because if I could apply the turbo, I would absolutely make mincemeat of everybody in this lobby, but that would also be cheating. So here you guys can see, again, I got a silly penalty a few laps ago, and we are currently on lap 6, so we're starting the halfway point of the race. And here, like I said, guys, the only thing we could use was soft tires, but there was still, the tire wear was so bad you were going to have to make a pit stop at some stage. And honestly, this Porsche, now you guys can see it now we're getting into the thick of it. There, through that corner, I accidentally completely outbraked myself and I bumped the guy. You guys are going to see here, I slowed down, I let him pass me again. I don't know why he went through me instead of just around me, but like I've told you guys in the previous video, I'm a very clean driver, and if I do something like that where it's my mistake and I cost another driver, I will let you pass again and I will resume the battle like it was. I'm not going to let you pass just to take advantage and then just make an easy move of you. So I did the sportsman-like thing. I let the Porsche pass to resume the battle because that was 100% my fault and my mistake. It wasn't fair of me to just, yeet him out of the way and then just continue racing. That's not fair. And I mean, the game didn't even give me a penalty for that. So it was really, really unfair. That's why I let the Porsche pass again. But here you guys can see through the tunnels again, this is the only corner where these guys had me. For some other reason, I couldn't figure out this damn hairpin. I don't know why. I either just broke a little bit too late and went deep, or I would get the perfect line through the corner, but for the life of me, I can't get an exit. So that corner definitely needs some attention by yours truly. So I need to go practice on this track a bit more, because this is not one of my favorite tracks. So this is actually one of the tracks I dislike the most. But I have to say, this car makes it a lot more fun than what it usually is. Even in just normal GT3 cars, for some other reason, this car's nippiness in the corner just makes it so damn fun. So you guys can see no fuel, just tires, and we are back out onto the racetrack. We fall to 5th and 6th, but that's just because the cars ahead of us have not yet come into the pit lane. So we are still the net leaders of this race. You guys can see that I'm a little bit bad on the throttle. They're coming out of the first corner, but nothing too bad. You guys can see I'm adamant to catch this Porsche. He actually makes a massive mistake into the hairpin, like he goes very wide, and then he comes and cuts across me. I know I'm from that POV, guys, it looked like I went to bump him, but I was actually trying to keep going left. I can't apply throttle and just keep going left. The car's naturally going to understeer to the right because you're putting power down, and this guy just decided, yeah, I'm going to come left. We made some contact, I half-spun him, but the way he was half-spun, I tapped him on the rear, he half-spun, I tapped him on the front, sent him back on his merry way. So it kind of worked out for both of us. It's reasonably nice. But we are now on lap 9, and you guys can see it side by side heading into this next section, and I finally decided to make my move and to pounce, and here we go, wonderful, into the lead of this race. But guys, again, in the straights, I am a sitting duck, so even if I break away and hopefully not get penalties, which I did, in the straights, this Porsche would literally, on this back straight and the main straight to the line, he would take out a second to a second and a half on me. So, and now that I had the penalty on the penultimate lap, I need to let him pass again. So he is now once again back into the lead of this race. And yeah, now it's going to be a last lap battle between myself and this Porsche, and I need to hope. I need to hope with everything inside of me that literally nothing goes wrong now, because it's the last lap dash, and yeah, this Porsche was not playing around. So in any case, let's see what happens on this final lap. Into the first corner, you guys can see I'm tucked up right underneath his bumper. He actually goes a bit wide into the first corner, and now I'm like, ooh, ooh, there is potential here. There is a very much the potential. So let's see, you guys can see I have a massive oversteer moment, a little bit of contact between the two of us. I go for the little switchback move from outside to inside. The Porsche is still on my outside. Here we go into this next section. The nippiness of the Subaru will come in to fruition here. And here we go through this next part. We are back into the lead, but we are so close to the straight again that it might be too little too late. Another massive drift as I smoke the right rear tire, because I'm pushing with everything I have, trying to keep this Porsche behind me. So onto the straight, if the Porsche does pass me, then I can just fall back into a slipstream and hope that something happens. Through the tunnels we go. You guys can see I've tried to break the slipstream as quickly as possible. I stick to the inside so that I can defend the inside of this corner. The Porsche stays on my outside. I think he should have slipped me more. And then I go back to the racing line, and into the corner. I outbrake myself just a little bit. The Porsche does exactly what happened between us previously. He just slightly tags me, and it forces me to fall in behind him. Nothing wrong from him there. That is honestly just a very tight corner, and it basically becomes single file. I'm sitting in his slipstream, 6th gear, up the hill, towards the line. We're gaining, but the Subaru just doesn't have the straight line speed, and we finish in P2 for this epic conclusion to this freaking race. Oh my word. Guys, honestly, I know some of you guys might be salty in the comments a bit now. Here's the onboard action replay, and you guys can see here, he really didn't do anything wrong. Initially in the race, I was like very miffed because I thought he did it on purpose, but literally, the previous time when I half spun him, it's literally just the roles swapped. I'm the one that went deep, he's the one that just absolutely nailed the corner, and there's nowhere he could go. I came onto the track, we hit each other, but he came out on top. Unlike the previous time when I kind of came out on top, it's just luck for him that I spun him back forward. But you guys can see it towards the line, I'm so close, it's less than 0.2 of a second, 0.139 behind the Porsche. But honestly, to Matt, beautiful race. I enjoyed that thoroughly, and I'm sure he did as well. It's a Mercedes 3.4 GTR GT500. Oh, it's some sort of vintage Nissan GTR. Then it's Ford 6th and 7th, Porsche 8th and 9th, and I just missed out on the final car there. And I'm going to show you guys the final 2 laps here of this race after I got that stupid 1 second penalty. And guys, let's think about this reasonably. I cost myself this race, because if I didn't get this 1 second penalty, I would have built a big enough lead to stay in the lead and actually win this. But it was my own stupidity, so the Porsche actually deserved it to win. He led most of the way, and it was honestly just a fantastic race. But guys, honestly, if you have Gran Turismo 7, even though this is a very tough track and it's not one of the most fun tracks to drive, get yourself the Subaru BRZ GT300 2021 car. It's a GT3 car, it's in the Subaru dealership. Buy this car, come to this track, and just have some fun. This car makes this track fun, like really does. I know this track for some people is a big fan favorite. I personally just can't gel with it, but this car really makes this track fun. The car sounds pretty darn nice, and it's not at any stage like super duper slow, so it's still a decent car in a straight line. It's just not like the other GT3 cars. I think of all the GT3 cars in this game, it is the weakest, but I mean, the corner performance of this little BRZ, the nippiness of this car makes it such a joy to drive. But guys, that has been this Gran Turismo video, and before you click off the video, again guys, sorry that these videos took so long. I've already explained the whole thing about the audios, and it was just an absolute pain in the behind. But the videos are now on your screen. I hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy it, make sure to tap the like down below. It's only going to take you in 52 seconds. Let's get some other people to see these videos through the YouTube algorithm so that we can actually just get more viewers on the channel and get the channel growing. Guys, while you're down there, go check out the links in the description down below for my social medias, as well as some of the other video series that I do. If you do decide to share this video with your friends, tag me in the post or the story, and I will give you a shout out in a future video, as well as on my social media. And if you've gotten to this part of the video and you have not yet subscribed, what are you doing? Hit the subscribe down below, and don't forget to ding that bell to never miss a future video here on Turbo Fox Racers, video, live or short. You guys have been amazing. There's still about a minute left for me to commentate, to be honest with you. But honestly, this has really just been a phenomenal episode. This is about the most fun episode I think I've made so far, especially with this final race. And honestly, this guy in the Porsche, well deserved. Awesome race. Clean racing. We both gave each other more than enough space. There was just unfortunate contact on a very tricky track to drive. Nothing too bad about it. But again, guys, you guys have been amazing. Thank you for the support recently on the channel. It's really been absolutely insane and amazing, and I can't thank you guys enough, especially on the live streams. Even if you guys don't watch the actual live, you guys watch the live stream post live as a video, and the support is highly appreciated. You guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you once again. Remember to go check out the links in the description down below. Give me a follow on social media and send me a wave or a wink, and I will reply to you. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll see you guys for whatever live, short or video comes next. Cheers!